Have you ever felt completely lost in the healthcare system, staring at paperwork you don't understand, trying to reach someone who can actually answer your question, not even sure what to ask, just knowing that something important is slipping through the cracks? Now imagine that way while also grieving. Today, we're talking with a patient navigator, someone whose entire job is to make sure families don't have to figure it out all alone. He knows the system, he knows the resources, he knows which questions to ask and who to call. And he uses all of that to stand beside families when they need it the most. He's going to talk about what his days actually look like, the calls that stay with him, and why he believes that access to good end-of-life care shouldn't depend on how well you can work the system. It should be available to everyone, and that's exactly what he fights for. In a world where it's easy to feel like a number, he's proof that someone can be in your corner. I'm Miranda Lindsay, and this is It's More Than You Think, Hospice Honestly. Thank you for listening. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Anytime.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Billy Hammers. I've been in hospice now for 15 years. So, something I love, something I feel like it's a gift that I give to families, something that is underutilized in all demographics of the healthcare world.
Let's start at the beginning. What is hospice and how is it different from any other medical care?
Hospice is end-of-life care. Yes, it's scary, but it's end-of-life care. What difference is we circle the care around you at the home or your loved one or wherever hospice can be given. It's to celebrate life. It's to give hope, not take that away. It's to center the care around the patient and the family.
Can you explain what is the hospice philosophy? Like what drives you in hospice to do what you're doing?
Because I've been in their shoes 7 times. I've had 7 family members go through the process. The first time was a very bad experience with my grandfather that came home and the hospice wasn't there. The equipment wasn't set up. The medicine wasn't set up. So my goal as a navigator is to make sure that never happens again to somebody. The 6 times past that have been phenomenal. My grandmother reverted back to speaking Dutch. She was on hospice for 2.5 years. They hired a Dutch-speaking social worker. It was an awesome experience. It was an easy way for us to grieve her while she was still here and be able to say goodbye to her on our terms.
And what is the hospice philosophy?
To celebrate life, to manage symptoms of a terminal diagnosis for someone who's going through a really rough time, but also to center that care and support the family as they're able to say goodbye to them. I always say it's caring for who they are, to learn what their greatest concerns are, and to manage those symptoms and expectations of what's going to happen. But to keep the patient where they want to be, and that's either at home, in a facility, or where they feel the most comfortable, and they can celebrate their life.
As a patient navigator, you are often the first person from a hospice care team that the family and the patient encounter. But what is encompassing in the hospice care team? Who is a part of that team?
So there's an interdisciplinary team. The interdisciplinary team is combined of the medical director or medical directors, the social worker, the aides, the nurses, a chaplain, a volunteer coordinator, all those combined to be what we bring into the home or where they are to make sure.
And how does that team work together to support the patient and their family?
So, of course, the nurses manage the symptoms along with the medical director. Medical directors should be available. They are available at a beck and call to manage symptoms in anything from anxiety to pain to constipation, anything like that. Then you have the aides that come in and help aid. Social workers are like a Swiss Army knife. They're going to know everything, all the community resources. If it's not a fit at home, it's where to take the patient from there. They support also the family with the grieving, with community resources, grants, anything like that to make sure the patient's getting the quality care they need. The volunteers, they do a lot inside facilities that also can sit with a family member, give the family a little bit of a break, read, communicate, and a lot of cases we use veterans that will sit with veterans to kind of go over war stories and things like that and give someone with the same kind of background that. And then you have the chaplain who does the spiritual part.
So, as the team members, how do you all work together as a team to proceed through this journey with the patient and their family in comfort and dignity?
Well, it starts with me, unfortunately. I am the one who gets to go out and you usually have a hard conversation with the family about a prognosis and a diagnosis. My job is to then communicate back to my team on what the family's greatest concern is, where they're going, how it needs to be set up, who we're going to talk to. Um, with the DCS or the DON that we use, it's their job then to manage the pain, manage the symptoms. But it's also our job to celebrate the life. So the nurse, the case manager, she's our first line of defense. They're there most of the time. They will support the family in all necessary avenues. It's just not about pain. It's about making sure they have quality over quantity, whatever that looks like. The social worker will be there to help with respite, with all those things. We all communicate on a daily basis about each patient. Every patient is different, so it's not a box we try to fit somebody in. We try to build the care around them, and it's everybody's job to make sure they are the center of attention.
So, it's not uncommon, say, an aide goes out to bathe the patient and realizes that that patient from the last time they were there is more uncomfortable or anything. It's not uncommon for that aide to reach out to the nurse and say, I was at Miss Smith's house and her bath was more difficult for her this time. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's what the whole team's there for. I mean, it's a communication after each visit, after each touch. I mean, I tell families all the time, just because you have one visit today doesn't mean you don't get another visit this afternoon. If our aide does go out and sees blood pressure is low or sees that, like you said, the breathing's changed or something like that, then yeah, we pick up the phone and they call the nurse and then the nurse will be on the way out. There's really, we're all responsible for one part of the process, but then it encompasses that we all were responsible for the whole journey that the patient's on.
What are maybe the greatest misconceptions about hospice that you've encountered?
That you're going to die right away, that we're going to come in and give you meds right away, that we're going to take meds away, that you can't go to the hospital, that you can't travel, that you can't enjoy your life still on hospice. Um, People think they go on hospice and they're going to die right away. And granted, that does happen a lot more than it should. But it's not about dying. It's about living with a terminal diagnosis. It's living your choice of life and what time you have left. So the biggest misconception is that that you're going to die right away and that we're going to load you up on pain medicine. That's not how it should go.
Is hospice only for senior patients, elderly patients? Or is it something that you're seeing more for a younger?
I mean, it's anybody with a terminal diagnosis, and that sounds awful because it could be a 6-month-old. It could be an 18-year-old. I mean, it just depends on what the diagnosis is and what illness the patient or the loved one has. I mean, throughout my career, I've done pediatrics. I've done elderly. Do we see it in more elderly patients? Yes, because we all think about, but there is no age limit on what hospice can be done or when it can be done. Pediatrics is a little bit more, I hate to say, cool when it comes to hospice because they get everything they want. The government still lets them get aggressive treatment, still can get all the equipment they need through um, the government. So it's not as, I would say, we don't take as much away when it comes to support from the medical community when it comes to a pediatric, but it's for everybody. It's for anybody that's dealing with a life terminal illness.
So for the families that are concerned, and I'm sure this comes up with every, patient that doesn't know, how is hospice funded? What typically is covered by Medicare, private insurance versus a cash patient?
So you do take some private pay patients. I mean, if there are some patients out there that don't have insurance, and there's a private pay system, and those we set up in the front end on a daily visit, or it's a per diem rate that we can give. Most of the time, if there's no insurance involved, we find a way to help someone. Just because their situation financially does not mean they don't deserve hospice. We all deserve to die with empathy and dignity. So a financial part isn't there. If you're over 67 and you have Medicare, or if you have Medicare for some other reason, Medicare is going to pay 100% of it. Private insurance pay somewhat different, but that's something that as a navigator, I find out before I meet with you. I would let you know if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield through the state of Louisiana, they're going to pay 100%. If there is a copay or something like that, if it's some weird one-off insurance, we know that beforehand. Medicaid pays just like Medicare. So if they don't have Medicare, then they have Medicaid. They still going to get paid. We still get paid the same way. Depending on what it is and who it is, they should cover 99% of what the hospice takes care of. I mean, there are some meds that we don't cover, but that doesn't mean that med is taken away from them. Um, Diabetic patients don't have to stop insulin. When we will write the prescription, it's the insurance company will still pay for that. It would still be paid through your secondary payer or through private insurance. We would pay for any comfort meds, steroids, antibiotics, stuff like that that are non-aggressive towards the diagnosis.
So you obviously can't do this as long as you have without having some passion for it and loving what you do. What's been the most rewarding aspect of the work that you do in hospice?
That's a very loaded question.
We only have 20 minutes.
I know that's it. I think I could tell you stories, but I think it's the ability to know that I'm letting a family say goodbye on their time. I don't think one case stands out more than another case because they all mean the same to me. It's a gift that, like I said, I give back. Being put in their shoes, knowing the anxiety, um, the scariness that they're going through as a family member, it's my gift to give back. That's one of the reasons that I'll go out on a Saturday or a Sunday or 2 o'clock in the morning to help a family. It's because it's a gift. They don't know where to go next. All they hear is hospice, so they think that it's the end. And if I can give them hope without giving them falsehoods, but redefine what hope is left is my goal.
So hospice is a difficult word. It's a dirty word to some people. What advice would you and do you give to families that are considering it but just aren't sure if this is the right route for them to go?
Meet with the right people. Call people like you. Call people who they trust in the industry. If they don't know somebody, reach out to somebody that has had experience. Hospice is a scary word. If we could rename it, it would be awesome, but we can't. So we deal with what we have. But it shouldn't be scary. It should be an honest conversation with your family, your loved ones. Just because you meet with somebody doesn't mean you're committed to hospice. Just because you sign up for hospice doesn't mean you're committed to hospice. You have the right to come on and go off of hospice at any time that you choose. You have a right to choose hospice A and move to hospice B if that's what's best for your family. I think getting over the stereotype of what we do and sitting down with someone who is there to care for your loved one, and actually enjoys what they, hospice and will sit down and just take their time. It's never a decision that should be made quickly, but if you're having that time and you think it's time, have a conversation with the right people.
And it can be multiple people, just so people are clear.
Yeah.
It's like interviewing a real estate agent almost in a way. It's like I always encourage people to sit down with more than one navigator from different companies and see which one you feel most comfortable with.
And I 100% agree. I tell families, like, if you don't get the warm and fuzzies from me, sit down and see who you get the warm and fuzzies from. All of us are governed by CMS, what is the Center for Medicare Standards, but all of us, depending on, will offer different things at different phases. And it's all set inside the standards, but it's depending on what the family wants. It should be an organic process that is built around the family and not around the hospice.
So in that, what have we not touched on that you wish more people knew about hospice? I mean, we could write a book on that. There are books on that. But if you could give advice or thoughts, what would you share?
That hospice doesn't mean not to treat. that hospice doesn't mean we're giving up. Hospice just means that at this point, it's easier for us to circle their care around your loved one where they want to be, um, and help us and help you manage that terminal illness. That if we step in at the right time, not these cases where it's 2 minutes or 10 days before the patient passes, if we actually step in the right time, we will give a loved one longer and more quality of time with you and your family than we would if we treated the patient. So I think that it's the misconception that we don't treat UTIs, that we don't treat pneumonia, that we don't use antibiotics, that we take every medicine away. That's not what we do. What we do is we treat the symptoms to give you quality over quantity.
Any final thoughts? Anything I didn't ask? Anything you want to share?
Just don't be scared of it. I know it's a scary world. And I say that, and I know sitting in a room and you hear the word hospice and it's your family member, even being in the industry, I still freak out, right? Because it's your loved one. Digest, think about it, and then reach out to people that you love and that have had experience, and surround yourself with the right people, and believe it, know what you are getting into, but also know that it's not permanent until it's permanent. Know that you can ask for things that are outside the scope and still get them. You can still go to the beach. You can still go to Disney World. You can still go to a dinner. You can still do those things on hospice. It doesn't mean you're going to go home and just sit in the bed.
It's only no if you don't ask.
Exactly.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you for caring for our families at the end. And thank you for being here with us.
I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, I'm Miranda Lindsay. Thank you for tuning into our episode. We'll see you next time.